Hello. So this vlog is about breaking up with your counsellor, which can be hard to do. You made it to therapy, which is quite something, but then you realise you don't have a rapport with your counsellor. It's just not working out for various reasons. Here's what to do. If you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling worried about this conversation that you need to have with your therapist, then try not to be. Therapists, when they're at university or college, they are prepared for dealing with rejection. It's not uncommon that a therapist is not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and they're not going to have a rapport with every client who comes through the door. So they will have been trained and they will have prepared themselves for dealing with rejection. Occasionally counsellors get ghosted. It's not pleasant, but again, like I say, it's not uncommon. So if you're feeling anxious, then try not to be, because your therapist will be more prepared for this conversation than you possibly think. The next point is, if you can tell your counsellor what it is that they're doing or why it is that you feel there's no rapport or connection, then this would be really helpful. There is a thing within counselling and it's called rupture and repair. So if you were to say to your counsellor, it really irritates me and I don't feel heard when you do this, then together you can look at that. It may be that you don't change your mind and you still decide to find another counsellor, but it can really strengthen the therapeutic work if you're able to talk directly and honestly to your counsellor, and if you're able to work through what it is that bothers you. It may be that even after you've had this conversation, you've still made your mind up that they're not the counsellor for you, and that's fine. It is your right to choose your counsellor, and it's your mental health that's most important, and your counsellor would want that for you too. So if you're still thinking, I don't want to work with this counsellor, it's not the best use of my time and money, then that's fine. What they will probably suggest though is that you have one last session together, and that will give you a chance to have a look at the work you've done and say what's called a goodbye. It just gives you the chance to say, I know we weren't a great fit together, but here's what I've got from the counselling, and to wish each other well in the future. And that way you don't get the feeling of things being left unsaid, and it sort of feels like a clean slate and a nice finish as you go on to choose your next counsellor. And hopefully this has been helpful and made you feel a little bit more prepared for what is a very normal situation in counselling. But to be clear, if you feel threatened by your counsellor, if you find your counsellor a bit odd or unprofessional, then absolutely none of this stands. You can just leave. Sometimes you don't even need to give a reason. If you feel unsafe, just leave. Just go and find yourself a better counsellor. And I know I'm always going on about making sure that your counsellors are registered with the BACP or the UKCP. And the reason for this is, alongside the fact that they should be professionally trained and have proof of that, it also means that if anything goes wrong in your work together, then you will have a recourse. You will be able to contact the BACP and the UKCP through their complaints page and make an official complaint. There's also a lady on Twitter. Her handle is @ClientsFirst and her name is Erin Stevens, and she talks about the harm that can be done in therapy. And if you're feeling more that your counsellor is harmful rather than just not a good fit, then this can be a really good page to look at. I wish you the best of luck in finding a new counsellor. I'm sure there's one out there for you. There's many of us. So good luck and take care.